Hello, boys and girls. Today we are going to look at finding the plot of a story. What is a plot? The plot is the order of events that happen in a story, in a fiction story. It introduces the main characters, the setting, and the problem. The middle of the story shows how the characters try to solve the problem, and then the ending or resolution is stated. So this is an example of a plot diagram. You might have seen something similar to this before. And what this graphic organizer does is it helps you to put different components of the plot after you read a fiction story. So you might have completed something like this before or something close to it. And so what we're going to do now, since you've already seen and practiced this before, we're going to practice again. And I'm going to start by reading a story. So we're going to practice now with this fictional story. And the story is called Will the Wolf. Will was fed up. All he wanted was to do things his way. Why did all the wolves have to do everything together anyway? They ate together, played together, slept together, and walked together. Everywhere, every day. It was exhausting. Will was growing up. He could do things himself now, and he has some pretty good ideas too. But his mom wouldn't let him try his ideas by himself. Will didn't get it. One day, the pack was walking through the woods. Will had an idea that there was food down a path, but the pack didn't want to go that way. Finally, Will said, "Why do we need a pack anyway? I'm going to go down the path, and I'll have plenty to eat. I don't need you guys." The pack did not approve. They said, "Will, you can try going off on your own, but we need to work together in our packs. Packs help us survive." Will didn't believe them. He ran off on his own. He ran for miles. He started to get tired, and it was getting dark. Usually the pack would all find a spot together to sleep, but Will had no pack now. He decided to go find a cave. When he settled down to sleep, Will thought, "Sleeping would be much easier with my pack all around me. If something comes, I'd have them to protect me." He barely slept that night. In the morning, he decided to go back. Will hoped he could find his pack again. He ran back to where they'd last been together. As he was running, he smelled a deer. Will thought. The pack would be impressed if I brought a deer for us all. So he decided to hunt on his own. Quietly, he crept through the woods. He tracked the deer into a clearing. Will looked around. Where was the deer? Suddenly, something charged out of the trees at him. It was the deer, and those antlers were sharp. If his pack were here, they would help him, but Will was all alone. He ran from the deer as fast as he could. After a while, the deer stopped chasing him. Will rested. He started thinking how much easier this trip would have been with his pack by his side. He would have been able to sleep soundly. He would have been warmer with all of them around him. He would have been able to take down the deer with his pack by his side. Now Will was just hungry and lonely. He realized his pack had been right. Packs do help them survive. Will knew that now. He knew that now and was determined to find his pack and work hard to help them as much as they help him. Okay, so I'm just going to take the graphic organizer we saw earlier, and I'm going to fill in a little bit at a time. So there's a part of the organizer where you fill in your title, and so I wrote Will the Wolf, and then of course you would write your name. And then towards the bottom is something called the exposition. The exposition introduces the characters and the setting of a story. So my setting is in the woods. My main character is Will. And then I could put down maybe his wolf pack as other characters in the story. Now we will start adding events in order. So I'm going to start down at the bottom with event 1. Will was tired of doing everything with his pack. He wanted to do things on his own. Event 2. Will decided to go off on another path other than the one his pack went on. Event 3. Will found a cave to sleep in for the night. Now let's look at the climax. This is when the conflict reaches its height. The action is at its peak. It is the most exciting part of the story. So this is what I wrote for the climax. A deer with sharp horns charged out of the woods and started chasing Will. Now let's look at the events after the climax. The first one, Will ran away from the deer and the deer stopped chasing him. And then after that, Will rested and started thinking about how much better it is to have his pack by his side. Now we will add the resolution. This is how the problem is solved at the end of the story. And I put, Will realized his pack had been right about staying together in order to survive. He was determined to find them and never leave them again. Now you will read a fiction story and you will practice plot.